So I've been reading books. Yay! It's incredible. And then I was like running around looking for one of the books, and then I was like, oh, you actually listened to that book. So I read two books and I listened to one. Well, there are other books in rotation. Let's just get into it because I can't. No particular order, but I do want to start with Black Friend. This amazing human right here, Ziwe, created this book right here, Black Friend. Bunch of essays, as you can see. It says right here, essays. It's Ziwe like we've never seen her before, first of all. The way I've never witnessed her before. That it goes there. But in this book, you have Ziwe who writes a few essays. I believe like 10 different essays. These are all the essays that she writes in this book. And they're all so powerful. They're all so powerful. They all make you think. They make you laugh. They make you finish this book not only feeling seen, if you're a Black girl, and you feel seen, you feel excited, and you honestly get a deep inside look at just what it means to be talented, creative, funny, and also have to still exist and manage society expectations of others who aren't even, they don't even know you're a public figure. Just fucking life, okay? She just captures life in this book. I honestly think that if you have a Black friend in your life, you should get them this book. I'm trying to think. Oh, one of the titles of the essays is called "If Beale Street Could Talk, It Would Cuss You Out." Just because you're racist doesn't mean you're a bad person. Damn, with a period. Let's see, Adopt Don't Shop. I believe that's about her dog. Affirmative actions. And just, yeah. I just love this so much. And it talks about when she was young. It talks about things that happened to her while she was working on the production of her show on Showtime. It talks about the origins of that show and how it came to be. But it also, at its core, it gives you just a deep, beautiful understanding of what your Black friend, what it means to be the Black friend. I love this book. And I personally I can't wait to read it again. And honestly, all of the books, let's talk about it real quick. All of the books that I recommend, every book, is a book that you could read by a body of water. Okay? A nice, easy, breezy read that you can just pick up while you are on the beach, at the pool. Something simple. I mean, yes, this should come in a soft back, Ziwe. Let me know when that happens. But a soft cover. But it's just so, it's like you could just be reading this book, blah, 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 and then your server comes by, is like, oh, would you like another mojito? And you're like, for sure. And then your friend might text you, and 30 minutes might pass, and then you could just, read a little bit more. It's not a book where you have to sit there in complete silence trying to soak in the material. It's such an easy breezy but impactful read. So, Black friend. I love this book. Next book. Big Swiss. Okay, so there's a YouTuber, and she was like talking about this book. And I only picked this book up because she talked about the book that I'm going to share next. And I read that first. And then I saw this at the bookstore and I was like, oh my God, this is a book that's on my list of books I want to read. And I just felt compelled to buy it. I was like, hell yeah, we're getting this book today. I don't really even remember what she said about the book, but she was like, it's funny. It's, I remember her saying it's funny. And I was like, oh, okay. You just tell me something's funny and I'll care. You know, I want to laugh. I want to be in on the joke. Like, if it's gay. It's funny, but it's dark as hell. Oh, I forgot that the webcam does its things now. So what is it about? You're like, okay, gay, dark, twisted, what? So it's basically about the main character. It's this main character. Her name is Greta. And Greta is basically, how do we call her? Running away from life, right? And the way you can interpret her running away, you can interpret it from literally moving to Hudson, New York, or just her constant state that she lives in, right? She's just not living with that fire, basically not living with intention. This idea of a will to live, she may not possess it. So she moves to Hudson with her friend who's very kooky, very strange, and honestly, I love the character of her roommate. And I love every character, actually. The way that they're developed, the way that we understand them, the dialogue between the characters. Just so rich. She moves in with her roommate, or her friend, Sabine. Okay, cool. Old women, living in a crazy house in upstate New York. What else you got, Janae? Well, Greta decides to become a transcriptionist for a sex therapist. And small town, so honestly, Greta finds herself not connecting like as friends, but seeing the people who she's transcribing their things with, their sessions, she sees them in real life. And eventually she meets the one and only Big Swiss. And this story talks about her journey with the relationship she has with Big Swiss. And Big Swiss is just, you gotta read it to, I don't want to give away any details about Big Swiss, but the one thing that is really interesting about the whole book is that Greta learns about Big Swiss before she meets Big Swiss. So it's like, also her name is not Big Swiss. Greta just calls her that. It's a really good story about parasocial relationships. And I didn't even realize that, honestly, until the author kindly some topic and discussion questions for your book club, which honestly I was here for. Because, I mean, I wouldn't read this in a book club, but I really loved, it just gave me that, like, school vibe, and it just made me think about the book even deeper. And I think that's the problem about, like, reading books now as an adult is, in college or in even high school or even middle school, you would read a book and there would be like a quiz you would take on the book, or you would have to sit and discuss the book and the teacher would bring out themes. But I find it really cool to use this as a tool to like circle things back, make things bigger, or like make me think about things deeper. And in reality, this whole book is truly a story of parasocial relationships using the medium of therapy transcribing instead of social media. I love this idea, the idea of thinking you know someone because you've sat in on their life for how much X amount of time. You meet them, and do you actually know them? And should you disclose the information that you know about them? All of these things. But it's also a comedy. But it's like also, since it's like therapy is our medium of exploration between the two people, it's also very dark. And it talks about their traumas and their pains. I love this book. I was like, Page Turner, get this, like, go get this book. Like, I don't know what else to say. Okay, and the last book I don't possess, because I listened to it on Spotify because I have premium and I can listen to one book a month. And I chose to listen to Down the Drain by Julia Fox. I read or listened, but I'm going to say read. Okay, sorry. I read that book in January, was it? January. No. Late February? It's all a blur. It's all a blur. I read that book some time ago. And not really, a couple weeks ago. And I still geek over what I experienced. When it comes to her memoir, the way that she was able to talk about herself, her story, everything that she's gone through, I cry. Oh my God, I cry. Every part of her life journey, like that she experienced, I was able to see a part of myself in. And I just oh my God. I love that book. I don't know her personally. I don't know Julia Fox. So I'm not going to sit here and, pretend that I know her. Pretend like she's my friend. But what I will say, she truly did the damn thing with that book. Major theme for me that I was able to just and was her relationship with the women in her life. I know a lot of the talk, we want to go straight to maybe her relationship with the men or her relationships with substances, but those things weren't what got me. It was her love and continued love for her friends. That to me was just fucking I think it's just so beautiful how she talked about the people in her life, her friends, and how various people had let her down, but she always had space in her heart for more people, for other people, for different people. She always had space in her, no matter what she experienced, the pain, the grief, the turbulence, the backstabbing, the abuse, no matter what she ever experienced, she literally always just opened her heart back up again. Even her own city turned its back on her, and she opened her heart up again and went back. And it's crazy because after, she went back to the city that was fuck you, basically, and explicitly and indirectly. And then her going back after she didn't want to, she saw, she was able to reach a new height in her success. She was able to grow. And for so long, I had been suffering with this, love-hate relationship with New York. And reading her book, it brought me a bunch of closure of, you should be in New York, but just know that it's hard. I say all that because I was having a really hard time with being in New York, and I was ready to settle to not be in New York because I felt so many people like to romanticize New York and glamorize New York and make it seem like this, they just they like to wash away the struggle, and I hate that. That's just I hate that people move to big cities like LA or San Francisco or New York, and they like to move there and ignore the suffering that's existing there. And I mean suffering in all ways, but, they become immune to it. And then they're oh, I hate it here. There's so much suffering. I'm gonna go move to the South. Also, her reading the book to me, it just felt like I was sitting at the table with a friend, drinking a glass of wine and just catching up. I'm so grateful that I read that book, and I'm so grateful, that it was recommended, because it really shifted my whole life, and it made me grateful. And it also like talked about grief in a way that I will cling to for the rest of my life. Last time I was at the bookstore, I was in New York, and I didn't have a big bag, but yeah, I'm buying that book because it changed my life, and I'm so grateful for it. So those are the books that I've been reading. Let me know what you're reading, because I want to read it. And also, I'll be honest with you, I'm a very picky reader. There are books over there that I have had forever. Like, I'm looking on my next book. I told myself that I would finish more books, like I would finish them. So there's books that there's one book I have to finish right here. This book called Don't Call Me Home. I took off the cover, but the cover is like over there. I don't know if you can tell, but it's like neon. But it's called Don't Call Me Home. And I got this book. It's by this person, Alexandra Arter. It's funny because when I was at the bookstore and I just saw it because it was like really bright, and I was like, "Ooh, what's this about?" And this woman behind me was like, "Oh my god, I was gonna grab that book." So I just I was like, oh, "Okay, here you go." Like, I handed it to her. I went back around the store, and then I saw that she didn't get it, and I looked at it. And at the time, I had just finished Patti Smith's book, Just Kids. So I was like having a whatchamacallit, a Chelsea Hotel kick. So I thought this was a sign. I haven't finished it. I'm on page 169. I don't know. It wasn't bad, but I mean, I'm more than halfway. So it's a book about a woman who grew up. She was the first baby born in the Chelsea Hotel. Her mother was an actress and one of Andy Warhol's like muses or actresses in a movie, whatever. And the book is just basically about like how she grew up in a household of neglect. Her dad was like a heroin addict, just like kind of neglect masked and like woo, we're free spirited, It talks about the evolving relationship that her and her mother hold, and I don't know. I guess to me, when I found out her mom was still alive, I Googled it and I wasn't really interested. Now, not because her mom should be dead for this story to be good. I was just kind of like, oh, where is this going then? And then I just didn't care to find it. And I got a different book that was more interesting. I didn't want to do it. Oh, there it is. See? Yay. Bye, you guys.